How are you?
Mr. Heady.
All is well, thank you. I hope everybody else is in good order.
Yeah.
Hi,
Shock. Hi, Shock. Hi, Shock.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good, good. One of these days we'll see you in the hall, for real.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll feel like an old friend by then. You got a workshop at home?
Sorry?
Do you have a workshop at home or?
Yes, I have, yes.
Good.
What sort of workshop? What are you making?
Mainly balls from segments, basically making segments, because I don't actually have the whole wood.
Okay.
I just make out of segments.
So you're well into turning then?
Sorry?
You're well into turning?
Yes, I've tried. I mean, there's one of the balls I did here, which is from a pine.
Okay.
Is that segmented? That's not segmented.
Sorry?
That's not segmented though, is it?
No, this one isn't. This one is from a whole chunk of wood. So, but the one that I did from segmented is here. This is what was segmented.
Oh, that is very nice. Yes, wow. Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. And there we have Mr. Paul Roos. Hello.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Paul. Did I show you my pepper mill?
Good evening.
You put it on WhatsApp.
Oh, I did, yes. Yes, I'm very pleased with it. I've now got some Purple Heart and some Panga Panga, which I'm going to turn.
Well, you can get that cured.
Cured?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very painful with Panga Panga. But don't buy from Ockenden. Expensive. Twice the price of anyone else and terrible delivery. I bought from Snainton Wood Supplies. Have you heard of them?
Yeah. They've been around a long time.
They were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I got the stuff the next day, just like Amazon. And they were much, much cheaper than Ockenden. Much. Oh, here we are.
Oh.
Hello,
okay.
Colin.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Long
Colin.
time no see.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. I should come up to Edgware for a coffee sometime.
Well, there you go.
Oh,
Okay, we'll make a date.
I'm free all next week.
hello,
Okay,
Colin.
I'll take a look.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Roos. I'm a newbie.
No.
A
Hi,
newbie.
Paul.
Hello, Paul.
Are you? Which club are you with?
No, I'm not in a club, no, but I'm interested. I've acquired quite an ancient lathe and been doing a bit of teaching myself, etc. And I thought it'd be a good idea to meet up with some guys that know what they're doing.
Very good. Where do you live? Where's your?
I live in Hendon.
Oh, not too
Okay.
far. And
That's
you've got a
local.
workshop or something.
I've got my garage, which is good, and I've been gradually acquiring bits and pieces. Got a chuck and air cleaner and a grinder, etc. So I'm gradually getting it together.
That's good.
Well, if you need any help or tuition or guidance, there's lots of people can help you. I mean, I take on the occasional, I wouldn't call it student, but somebody who wants to come along and do something.
Thank you. That's very kind.
We have a short list of what you might call experienced turners who are willing to help anybody who wants to join the club.
Thank you.
And we've got people all near your area.
Right.
Yeah.
All around Hendon. Well,
If
close to
we have
Hendon.
your email address, I'm sure we do. We can
Yes, you've got that.
keep in touch and organise something.
Lovely. That'd be very good.
And there's Ian again.
Hello
Hi,
there. Hello, everyone.
how you doing, Ian?
Fine, yes.
How's the little lathe? You're still working with it?
Yeah, I am actually. I'm using it. It's fine for small things and sanding, and the big one, which is down in Eastbourne still, I do the major stuff on.
Yeah. Well, it's better than nothing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I think it's sort of it's functional, but it's not very strong, is it?
No. You can stop it with your hands.
Exactly. Yes.
Stop.
I was going to ask actually. I do need a sort of mini MIDI lathe, one which I can carry a few steps out of the shed and put it back in when it rains. Now I've looked, there's one, Rutland do a small lathe, and then there's a more expensive Axminster one. Does anyone have any views?
The Rutland one is underpowered.
Is it?
I've got one, and I think you'll be in a similar situation with your small lathe.
Okay.
I mean, it's great. I like you. I've got two lathes. One is completely overpowered and enormous, and the other one is, you know, if I'm doing anything quite small, it's fine. But if I need to do anything bigger than, let's say, it won't even cope with a small bowl.
No. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Yes, because I think the Rutland one is it sort of about 700 watts or something like that.
Honestly,
No, it can't be. That's a horsepower.
I honestly don't know.
Oh, right. Right.
Off the top of my head.
Terry is the man to ask.
Who?
Terry is the man to ask.
Yes.
Hey, ask what?
You're on the spot, Terry.
Yeah, but what's the question?
Oh, no, you've got to guess that.
3.
Here is your starting for 10.
I think, Greg,
Okay.
what's the minimum size lathe for decent turning?
Ooh.
Three goes a horse, 1 horsepower minimum.
Yeah, 3/4 will do. If you're a pin turner, 3/4 is ample.
Is it? No, mine's 2, so I wouldn't know.
That's true. If you want to keep your options open, the bigger the better.
Mhm.
But certainly a 1 horsepower will do most things. I had to change up my lathe for a more powerful one when I found I was right on the limit of capacity for my old machine, and the smallest cut would just about stall it. So I had to upgrade to a bigger motor.
Right. Okay.
But for most people, 1 horsepower, yeah.
Right. Thanks.
Yours is about 3 horsepower, isn't it? You're tight.
Mine's 3.
Yeah,
Oh.
massive. Completely fill you with
So I
air.
was right, 3, yeah.
Yeah, no, 2's big enough.
2
Gentlemen, I've got to go. I've got stuff piling up now. We've got to take a COVID test later as well.
Oh boy. Good luck.
So, sorry about the short meeting. Colin, I'll give you a ring next week.
Okay, great. Look forward to that, Jeff. Okay.
Okay, all right. And
Good luck with the test.
good luck, everybody else.
Cheers.
And have a nice evening. Okay, I've got to
Why
go.
are you taking a test?
Sorry?
Why do you have to have a test?
We're going to see my daughter tomorrow and her kids, and she wants us to have a test before we get there. Don't go there.
No, we won't go there.
Jeff, you know that you can get free tests sent to you in the post. You just do them yourself at home.
That's what we're going to take.
I see.
We've got them already, but you can't eat 30 minutes either side.
You're not?
No.
No, that's rubbish.
I didn't know that.
I'm going by the instructions, not by other opinions. There's no
That's
point in
weird.
buggering around with it.
Well, I've got the same bloody things. It says nothing about eating.
Well, you know, NHS step by step, self-testing, whatever.
Do a lateral flow test in 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Garage
Yeah, well, no,
needs
you've got to
do
wait
a
30
negative
minutes for the answer.
result.
My manager here mentioned something about not eating. So anyway, I've got to go anyway.
All right.
I'll
Cheers.
speak to you anon. Bye.
Ciao.
I think more important than how powerful the lead is how slow it goes, how slow it can go, because that's going to influence quite a bit of your turning capability.
All right.
Do you need one that actually stops? In other words, most of the ones I've seen, you turn them down to the slowest speed, but they won't actually stop unless you switch it off.
Well, mine does.
Does it? Ah.
Yeah, I mean, I can adjust it. My slow speed, the dial says 147 RPM, which is actually quite fast for a very large piece of wood that's not been rounded. But it's okay. I mean, I get by on that. But if I turn the dial further, it stops. In fact, I quite often control the lathe just with the dial.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
Well, when I bought my lathe, it didn't go down that low, and I said to the dealer I wanted it to stop, and they were really quite nervous. They said it was a safety issue because the thing could be live, as it were, and ready to spring into life. But when I convinced them it wasn't a problem, they said, "Well, just adjust the settings," and they told me how to adjust the settings, and I could set it down to 0. So I think probably any lathe with variable speed, you can do that, even if the settings might be inside the box, but it can be done.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of instructions with mine that I never dared look at that I'm sure allows me to do something similar. And 2 pulleys. I mean, the 2 pulley thing, I find truly irritating, actually. So I've never bothered to change. I tried once, and it brought me no benefit that I could see. Unless you turn pens and, I don't know, 50 centimeter platters, then I suppose you need to change the ratios. But
I'm with you on that, Tom. I can change the pulleys, but I've never done it.
No.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of hard work and not much gain.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of money spent on a system that isn't necessary.
I've got a pillar drill with three wheels. I've never ever changed it. My bandsaw's got 2 wheels. I never changed that. I mean, why do we need?
Don't all bandsaws have 2 wheels, one on the top, one on the bottom?
I mean.
Thank you, Adam.
A pulley, 2 pulleys.
Yeah, I understood.
I didn't even know it had 2 pulleys until the blade came off and I was fighting with it, and then, oh, what's this here?
The variable speed lathes normally have an expensive inverter, don't they?
Yes.
And that you can use, as far as I could tell, to change the rate of acceleration when it speeds up and all sorts of things. But does anyone ever touch them?
Yes. in the initial setup, but not since.
Okay.
You can set it up how you want.
Right, yeah.
And you can increase the maximum speed as well, or reduce it.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't feel capable of doing that. And anyway, I don't know where the instructions are, so
online. Yeah, online.
Yeah, look online. It's always there somewhere.
It's safer not to look.
Well, instead of rambling on, we have a theme which we may or may not want to discuss on finishes. I found them very confusing because you never quite know whether to put sanding sealer on top of oil, or oil on top of sanding sealer, or dyes. There's always several layers to go on a finish. So I just stick to sanding sealer and friction polish, which gives me a lovely finish. But you've all had experiences of different finishes and different oils. And was it Scott Grant? He was quite clear, wasn't he, about the finishes on his pepper mills. But what is the correct sequence of a finish? Do you always put sanding sealer on? If it's a salad bowl or something edible, you probably wouldn't put sanding sealer on. You would go straight in with a Danish oil or a food safe.
No, I think you would use sanding sealer regardless, because it closes the grain, it gives you a smoother surface.
Yeah, but you can't get the oil in. It seals the pores. So that defeats the object of putting oil on. Isn't that so, Terry?
That's what Chestnut have been saying recently in their newsletter. And it's quite right, I think. If you use sanding sealer for sanding purposes, that's one thing. But to seal the surface before you put the oil on, I think is wrong, because you want the oil, like David suggests, to go into the wood and harden there. You don't really want oil on the surface. But it could be a base for other finishes like wax or friction polish or whatever. I don't know. I don't use that stuff. I finish just about everything with either Danish or wax oil, and I never use sealer.
Really? You never use it?
No.
Oh, so you just put...
Only on MDF, which is a different thing.
I mean, if you look at the Chestnut producer chart, which actually a pretty good guide as to what will go on top of what.
Yeah.
Which is free to download. You can either.
Well, they might be compatible, but you still got to say why do it.
Yeah.
Well, I used Saban Smith dyes on a bowl I made. Lovely colours. But I put it on top of sanding sealer and it was absolutely bloody awful.
Yeah.
I had to take it all off again.
Really though, but in his demo, he applied the sanding sealer. They have their own sanding sealer, which is a watered down version, he said. And I've done that. I've used that one. You apply it first, and then you apply the. Oh, it was the other way around. Actually, thinking about it, it was dyed in sanding sealer. I think it was dyed in sanding sealer.
What about using sanding sealer, then a very fine rub over with sanding, maybe sand with 600, very likely to give a finish so that you will grip the next coat.
Next coat of what?
Good question. The top coat, maybe. But at least the sanding sealer has done its job of flattening the surface and closing. No, you're right. It comes around in a circle. Yeah.
So I remember in that demonstration, he sanding sealer. No, he convinced me that Yorkshire grit was a good thing to have. So I bought a tin of it. Haven't used it yet, but I wasn't quite sure of the order in which it should be used.
No, I mean, I made a note of what he said last week or a couple of weeks ago. What he did, he sanded down to 240 without any sealer, and then he put on some meths to clean it off, and then sanding sealer, and then Yorkshire grit,
right,
and then wax after that.
Yeah,
Yorkshire is a wax. It's grit mixed with wax.
And
it's 320 grit mixed with a wax. So you shouldn't need another wax on top of a wax.
Yeah, you put crystalline wax on top.
Yeah, I think.
So the reason you use microcrystalline wax is because if you touch the piece, you leave a fingerprint, unless it is a very high melting point wax like microcrystalline.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Yes.
Are these new finishes better than good old-fashioned carnauba?
Microcrystalline is much harder than carnauba.
I didn't realize it was hard.
Carnauba you put on by heat, don't you?
Yes.
Whereas microcrystalline you put on cold.
Yeah.
It comes in a paste that you spread. When it's dry, you buff it.
Right.
You buff it at between 1,000 and 1,500 RPM, and try touching it. You don't leave a trace. Whereas carnauba goes on with heat, and your body hopefully is warm enough to affect it. So the trick is to put the microcrystalline on top of whatever other waxes you're using, and then you get a surface that's shiny and fingerprint proof.
And then you buff it, and then you finish off with a buff.
Yes, yeah.
But you can't wax on top of that then?
You can wax on top of anything. I mean, if I care a lot about what I'm producing, then I'll put multiple coats of multiple things, finishing off with a microcrystalline wax. If I don't care much, then I'll just put a sealer, sanding sealer, followed by microcrystalline wax. And it comes up with a perfectly lovely sheen, even a shine if I'm really careful about it.
Yeah.
Have you used?
How durable?
Don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't been turning long enough to find out, Terry.
Well, we're all looking for a durable, perfect finish.
Yeah.
What about a lacquer?
I find
it's on the surface, isn't it? So it's always vulnerable.
Well, it depends to what, Terry. Some years ago, I got fed up with a glass soap dish in our bathroom. So I set myself the challenge of using, it was actually a piece of some Australian burwood that I got, and it looked pretty. So I turned that into an exact replica of the glass piece and covered it in sanding sealer and then melamine lacquer, including the drain hole through the middle. And it has remained completely waterproof in the 3 or 4 years that it's been there.
Excellent. But do you ever use it?
Sorry? Do I?
Do you ever use it?
Oh, not only that, I actually wash it.
How many coats of melamine lacquer?
Oh, probably 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the lacquer? Polyamine?
Melamine lacquer.
Melamine lacquer. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I find melamine lacquer incredibly difficult to apply. I mean, I consider, it really lucky if I get the next coat on looking reasonable. I have no idea what I do right when I do it right, or what goes wrong when it goes wrong.
When it goes wrong, it goes really wrong.
Oh, it's really messy. And I mean, I think one of the secrets is don't ever try and do it on anything larger than about 6-inch diameter. You've really got to, the whirling of the piece on the lathe has to allow you to buff it smooth and stop it getting streaky very, very fast indeed.
Or is there an argument to do small areas at a time?
I wouldn't know how to do it.
No, I'm not sure I would either.
You've drilled holes in this thing to let the water drain through.
One hole in the middle.
Oh, and then you've lacquered the hole.
Yeah, I just poured lacquer through the hole. What would you do?
Yeah, well. That's amazing.
I'm a real technician, Dave.
So tell me, does the type of timber matter in this? Would you use a different finish depending on what timber you're using?
That's a very interesting question, Paul, because I have tripped twice and on very related timbers, on cedar and on, what's the other stuff, for God's sake? Oh, the other fir tree that you put in gardens. Not cedar, but...
larch?
No.
Cypresses.
Yes, cypress, exactly.
Cypress.
So at the moment, I've got a cypress vase. And I was really taken at that demo, the Saban Smith demo, his sidekick or his boss demo, with the Danish oil. And I used the Danish oil, and I thought to myself, I'm never going to use another Danish oil. This is just fantastic. It goes on so easily. And then on my cypress vase, it just wouldn't buff. And as I buffed it, so it got very smelly. And along with the smelliness, it became sticky. And I haven't tried dealing with it. I've just put the vase back and in its place, hanging from the ceiling like Gennady does, and left it there to die another death. The cedar bowl, I cleaned off, I don't know how many times before I could get a finish that survived.
It's interesting you should say that. Interesting you should say that. I don't know whether you know, but probably the biggest cedar in North London was in Hendon until a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, when it toppled, demolished a car, and was right across the road, Parsons Street. Anyway, I managed to rescue a few bits and pieces from it. So I've done a few little bits, and actually I've got this. There's this cedarwood bowl here that I did, which is quite an attractive wood, isn't it? Because you've got all these markings on it. But actually, I haven't really known how to finish that. It's not bad as it is, but it's certainly not a. I'm not sure that a high sheen on that is the right sort of finish anyway.
Good luck, mate. Good luck.
It doesn't have a finish, does it? You say?
It has. It at the moment. I think I put some wax on it, but it seems. I think the wax has gone right in. It's a very soft wood, isn't it, cedar?
So this has been down. This wood has been. The tree came down. What? Scarcely a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I say, good luck. But when you want to clean it off, white spirit is what I found worked.
Okay.
What I didn't. I cannot remember what the finish was that I used. I think it still is oozing from some of those nice features that you like so much and that I adore on the bowl I've got. I mean, I've got a fantastic figure on my bowl, but it oozes. So
Yeah.
and I have no idea what caused the stink in this Hampshire Sheen Danish oil. I mean, the great attraction is it's food safe. So that endeared it to me immediately. But if I can't apply it and shine it, then what's the point?
Does anybody else use any other finishes?
Walnut oil dries. Other oils don't.
Walnut oil is what I tell everybody I give a bowl to, finished with food safe oil. I tell them if ever it needs re-oiling, use walnut oil because it's food safe and it doesn't oxidize. It doesn't go rancid.
Yeah, but it depends if unless people are allergic to nuts.
Yes, exactly. But then you might know that. So I don't let anybody have a bowl that's sealed in walnut oil, but I suggest them that they would reseal it in walnut oil.
Got a bottle of Butcher's Block. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
It's quite good. It's food safe. It's quite thick. It doesn't pour. It's more waxy than. It's for doing Butcher's Blocks. That's what it's for.
Isn't that a mixture of mineral oils and things? The Butcher's Block oil.
Sorry, Ian, say it again.
Isn't it a mixture of mineral oils and things like that?
I think so. You can have a look on the label.
I once pinned what's his name from Chestnut into a corner, and he admitted that his food safe oil is liquid paraffin, nothing else. But it is a food safe version of liquid paraffin. The point about liquid paraffin is if it isn't purified, then it can be not food safe. And you can commonly buy it. I've got a can of it for veterinary purposes, which presumably can't do me too much harm, but I don't try by swallowing it. That's the difference. I wouldn't. So I would imagine Butcher's Block oil is probably something dissolved in liquid paraffin. When I did my wood turning course with Mick what's his face up at Turner's Retreat, he came with a little pot of stuff that he'd made. It was just brilliant to use because it left your hands really soft. You could sand through it, and it made no dust and left a lovely matte finish. It was completely unbuffable, but anyway, very nice to apply. And that was a mixture that I've reproduced. It's great. It's about 50-50 liquid paraffin and beeswax. So if you get a good grade of beeswax, a good grade of liquid paraffin, you just warm them up to below the flash point of liquid paraffin, and stir it, and it integrates. And this mixture is so good on my skin that whenever I had an itchy skin somewhere, I put some of this on the itches, and it really works. My doctor confirmed beeswax is very likely to work, especially with liquid paraffin.
I came across something called OJ's Shine Juice.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And that's a mixture of equal quantities of what is it?
Boiled linseed oil.
That's it. Boiled linseed oil, denatured alcohol, and what's the
shellac?
Shellac. Yes. And that apparently that is very good if you're turning hardwood or any of the exotics.
What kind of finishes I give?
Brilliant.
You mean very bright?
I mean,
very shiny or not?
Very shiny. It's you can touch it, doesn't leave fingerprints, buffs to a beautiful colour, and it works very well. But you've got to mix up all the three components.
What is the historic recipe for varnish? Isn't that shellac dissolved in alcohol or something like that?
And you mean for French polish?
Yeah.
Yes, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, that's shellac in alcohol.
Yeah.
So this shine juice just adds was it boiled linseed oil or something?
Linseed oil, yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it could be cause cancer, couldn't it? The shellac, because wasn't it the French furniture polishers somewhere up your way who all got nasal cancer.
Never heard of that.
I'm not sure it was Hendon, but it was around North London. Many.
Oh, the furniture industry was your way, Julian, and
I
what's
was
it?
in Camden.
Yeah, Camden and the Italian area. What's it called?
It was in Hackney, most of the furniture business, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a lot of it there too.
The overall furniture business was in Hackney and around in the East End. Yes,
Yeah.
I've never heard of shellac causing cancer.
Nor have I.
Okay, well maybe it doesn't, but
The people that might have told us are probably all dead.
Tom, I've just got this out of the shed, butcher's block, and read the ingredients on the back.
Mm.
And I think it's what you're saying, because it says here, ingredients, food grade mineral and oil stabilized with vitamin E, beeswax, and carnauba wax. It's thought, why you'd have vitamin E, I don't know, but you know, it is with wax, isn't it? Beeswax and carnauba wax and oil. It's a mixture of what you're talking about. It's quite greasy, I think.
Well, carnauba wax is going to give a shine. Beeswax doesn't. And I mean, maybe pure beeswax, hard beeswax would, because it just fills in the gaps, then you shine off the surface. But it doesn't once you've mixed it with stuff.
It's so waxy, it doesn't put great lumps of it inside. So it's really wax dissolved in vitamin E.
Vitamin E, yes.
The Richard Raffan finish is pretty good, which is boiled linseed oil and then paraffin wax or beeswax on top, and he melts it onto the surface of a spinning bowl or something. And he says it's so easily repaired that it's a good universal finish.
So how does that go again, Terry?
You put he used to use mineral oil, I think, the paraffin, but I think I read that he's gone over to boiled linseed oil. So he puts a coat of that onto the bowl, wipes it off, and then this is all on the lathe, and then he rubs on a coat of paraffin wax, or from a candle, or maybe beeswax, and then burnishes that off with the thing spinning, just with a bit of cloth, and it sort of melts into the wood, and it's very easy to do. The thing comes off the lathe finished, and it's easily repaired. So anyone who buys a piece like that, they've just got to re-wax it or re-oil it. So he reckons, he's a good turner. He reckons that he does everything with that.
Wow.
They rub off with a piece of rag. Wouldn't you be using a Beal polishing kit or something a bit more?
I think when he developed it, no one had thought of buffing like that, because he put that in his books and videos years ago, and I used to use that myself, and it was pretty good. But I think Danish is probably pretty good too.
Trouble with Danish is nobody knows what you mean because there isn't a recipe.
True enough.
Yeah.
And I'm coming to think that the hard wax oils are probably better than the Danish, although a bit messier.
What do you do when you get to the bottom of your can of hard wax oil, Terry? I mean, I've got one that weighs twice the weight of the steel it's encased in. And I mean, I can't get anything out unless I add more white spirit. What do you do?
Well, what I do now is as soon as I get a can of Danish or this other stuff, I decant it all into little glass bottles, which I've got on Amazon. They're like little miniature spirit bottles. And then as I use them, I give it a squirt of argon inside to displace the air. So that's working.
I'll have to come and take your invitation to come and visit and see.
Okay, you're welcome. It's an expensive way to do it, but it's probably cheaper than chucking the oil away when it goes off. So it's a can of an aerosol can sort of thing containing compressed argon, and you just give it a blast into the bottle. and it displaces the air, and the stuff keeps in the glass bottle then forever. Another thing you can get in USA, and I haven't found them here yet, is stop loss. I think they're called stop loss bags, which are for these meant for oil finishes. It's a plastic bag that's not permeable to oxygen, and so you fill the bag up, and it's got a little top and a spout, and that keeps the stuff fresh. That will be even better because I'm sure it'll be cheaper. But I haven't seen those.
I try using the sauce pots from Turkish takeaways, and they're useless. Yeah. Even overnight, they don't work.
Well, I've tried the plastic bottles too, and I don't think they're gas proof.
Yeah, that's sure.
And the oxygen does get in.
Yeah. Okay.
Good evening, Brian.
Evening.
Hey, Brian.
Hello.
Sorry I'm a bit late, been busy.
On your caravan.
No, finishing off the shed that I moved.
2-minute job.
You like it where it is, or are you going to move it back?
It's fine where it is, yeah. It's level now.
Oh.
How long did it take?
What's that finish you're drinking, David? David?
Italian finish.
Italian finish.
Italian
right.
finish.
I hope it doesn't work. One finish I should mention that I found really, really useful in a number of contexts is one that was sort of given back to me, I think at the last demo actually, when I raised the question. I had a piece of really beautiful eucalyptus. It was a eucalyptus fork that I'd taken a bowl out of the middle of, and it was utterly gorgeous, and it had done what all my eucalyptus pieces do. It had warped, and I didn't want to lose any of the detail, and I didn't know whether to shine it or not. And the general verdict was don't shine it. And then I said, well, you know, what do I protect it with? And somebody said lemon oil, and I use lemon oil all the time. It had never occurred to me to use it on the eucalyptus, and it's worked a treat. It absolutely has worked a treat. It has preserved all the detail. In fact, it's probably enhanced some of it. It's not made it over shiny. So the parts that were naturally shiny remain naturally shiny, and the parts that were naturally matte remain naturally matte. But I use lemon oil normally to stop fruit wood splitting. And if I'm quick about it, that works really well. But you have to have gallons of lemon oil and absolutely soak the wood in it, which is obviously best done when you've first turned it. But you don't need to rough turn. You go straight to a finished bowl and dump it in lemon oil. And the first time I did this with bookends, which was a quarter of a discus of cherry wood. And I knew it was going to split unless I did something. So I tried this lemon oil that somebody had said might work, and it damn well did. None of my big, thick bookends, they're sort of 2.5 inches thick, split, which for cherry is totally astonishing. So there's a use for lemon oil.
What is lemon oil, Tom? Is it mineral oil flavored with lemon, or is it something different?
It does smell.
Somebody once suggested to me, and I have no idea whether they were reliable or not, that it was lemon grass oil.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if Chestnut are selling it to me for a million a pint, then I bet I can find it for $500,000 a pint online if I look for lemon grass oil. So I tried, and it was 3 times the price of what Chestnut sell their stuff for. So I think, Terry, there's probably some truth in what you say. It's probably flavored with something, but it's very thin. So it's nowhere like food safe oil, which is a lot thicker, liquid paraffin.
It's not like paraffin, right?
No, it's really thin stuff. So I would have no idea what they use to thin it with. It's not rated as food safe, so I don't try and use it in that way. The lemon odor stays for a few days, and if you've got really sharp nostrils, you might pick it up after a couple of weeks, but that's about it. Yeah, no, it's really versatile. I keep a sealed tub big enough to contain my bowls to one hand, and I just put a load of oil in it with the bowl, seal it up, and leave it for several days. And you know, let the best man win.
And does it dry? Does it evaporate with time, or does it harden?
I don't think it hardens on the surface. There's no trace of it on the surface. It certainly sinks in. I've seen it go through some wood. Does it evaporate? Yes. There is a component that evaporates, if only because you can smell it. You know there's a volatile component. But I have no idea where it goes. It sinks in. There's no trace of it on the surface. Does the rest of it evaporate? It must do, I suppose.
Well, I'm always a bit chary of finishes that don't harden, don't oxidize, because I found that they can attract dirt. You don't find that?
No.
Do you put anything over the top of it?
No. Can do. I have done, but I generally don't. You can put a wax over anything, so says Terry Smart. And I have put microcrystalline over the top of lemon oil, but generally I don't. It leaves a sort of a sheen. I wouldn't call it a shine.
No sanding sealer involved at any stage.
No, by definition, you don't put an oil on top of a sealer. So no. So it's a really simple process. It was Mark Sanger that introduced me to lemon oil when Dave, you and I went on that day, and we were thin turning something, and he said, "Now just dump, cover it in lemon oil, and it won't crack, and it's finished." And he was right.
You soak the whole thing. You cover it with lemon oil, so it's actually in a.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very generous with the lemon oil. It's in this tub of mine. I pour the contents of the tub back in the bottle and reuse it next time. But that doesn't stop me getting through a lot of it. So to come back to your question, Terry, a fair portion either evaporates or sinks in, or both, because I don't get all the oil back that I pour on top. That's for sure.
Saves you rough turning, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly.
I think the general consensus of opinion is that if you want to use an oil, you let it soak into the wood. But if you want to use a wax, it's probably better to put sanding sealer on first and then wax it.
Or put the wax over the oil.
Or put wax over the oil, yes. But
yeah, you can.
Same thing. Yeah.
Since you can put wax over anything, the question, I suppose, is what value does it add to the sanding sealer if you're going to do that? And in my book, usually it's extra shine and a replaceable finish, but that's about it.
Why has no one used a friction polish? It's just so good. It is a shellac, actually. You're buffing up a shellac.
I have used it once, and I wonder why I bothered. I mean, what does it do that other things don't do?
Gives you a fantastic shine. But there's no oil in it. I don't know. I think it's a shellac.
I've got a very old bottle. I mean, it was probably made in the 1990s. Came with the first lathe I bought, and it's completely separated into two parts. I have to shake it like mad to get it to reintegrate before I use it. So I very rarely use it.
Well, it's off you.
Yeah, I'll give it a try.
Well, if it's shellac based, it might have gone off by now. Shellac doesn't keep indefinitely.
Ah, okay.
I mean, you put it on and it's drying within seconds. I think there's alcohol in it.
Do you smoke while you use it?
Yeah, I would smoke, but I don't.
I've got one of my sons staying here at the moment, and he wanted to learn wood turning, and so we've been doing a few things. And he selected this eucalyptus log off my monster pile to make a vase out of. So I got out my 3-inch bit, And after a while, I also got out my fire extinguisher. This thing was red hot, absolutely red hot.
Burn yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I did this pepper mill, and there's a 12-inch hole down the middle.
Yes.
Winding away, there's smoke coming out of both ends.
Yeah.
But
I found I've got several different bits now, and there are bits and bits. I mean, it clearly are some that are tapered in such a way that the cutting surface is wider than the following surface, so that it doesn't drag, it doesn't bind. And the nature of the teeth and how they're sharpened, I think, matters too. So I got one that, again, came from our Mark Sanger session, Dave, and that's brilliant. I mean, it goes straight through without any smoke, any hesitation whatsoever. And I've got another set I got from Rutland's that are very good as well, but they're very short, so you don't get much advantage from those.
Well, you can get extenders.
For the Rutland's ones?
Well, for any force and a bit, you can get an extension. With two little grub screws, you put it on a hole and tighten it. And
oh, okay. Because the extension I've got without screws on the one bit that I got from the on Mark Sanger's recommendation. I'll have a look.
An auger bit, long auger. You can get auger bits up to 12 inches long.
Yeah, I've got the set. Yeah. So here's a simple Forstner. Whoops, where are we? There.
Yeah. Well, that's end plugged into an extension, as you know.
Okay, so I have to ask Rutland if they got extensions for their bits, because it'd have to be the exact diameter, wouldn't it?
Yeah, indeed. They get different manufacturers have got different diameters there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks for the tip, because these are good.
Get your 12 inches into anything.
I mean, these ones here, you probably can't see on there, but they visibly taper. The teeth are much wider than the bit that follows, so they don't bind at all. Really handy.
Whose is that bit?
Rutland.
Oh, Rutland. Yeah. I've just ordered this light pull chuck.
Yeah.
They've just come into stock. I got an email today with they're out of stock, and that's what who did use it? Yeah, Scott Grant used it. Really good. So you've got 4 or 5 different tape diameters. You can turn apples with them. The smallest is about 1/8 of an inch, and it goes 1/4 inch. It's imperial. 18 3/16 5/8. Yeah.
Have you got an email address for Scott Grant by any chance? Because I emailed him on a totally different subject and I got no answer on his website.
I've got his address. I'll email it to you.
Thank you.
What's the question?
Oh, I was asking, he was doing some turning for a veteran centre that he told me about, and I was wondering how he did that.
Yeah, I'll be happy to send you it.
Thank you.
He was good, and he was
good demo. Yeah.
It's hard to find anybody else.
When are we going to be back in the hall?
21st of July, or 23rd. 23rd of July. And that will be Gabor Lacco. Gabor Lacco is a world famous turner. He's going to bring his book along, either to give away or for sale. 60 years turning. 60 years. I mean, it's Julian and I went to see him in his amazing house.
Well, both he and Patricia.
Yeah.
She does a lot of the decorative work. He does a lot of the turning. It's a good partnership.
Workshop's probably as big as your house, Tom. He's got a room with 6 lathes. He's got several rooms for wood storage. He's got another room with hand saws.
He's taken over a farm, or at least they have. And
Trevor.
They've just turned one of the barns into a workshop. But,
Wow.
you know, double glazed, decent doors, nice and warm.
There'll be no shavings at this first. He's going to do a presentation. He doesn't believe in having presentations with shavings. He said, we can all make shavings. What you want to know is how do we make stuff? You get bored watching him burn. Sorry.
So that's the 21st of July meeting, yeah?
I think it's 23rd, isn't it, Julian?
21st. 21st
Whatever
is
the
the
third
Wednesday.
Wednesday is.
21st.
21st.
All being well.
Yes, government permitting.
Gabor Lacko.
Yeah, look him up on Google. There's pages on it.
Lacko.
Lacko, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I knew him when I was very young. I mean, 20 or something.
And he was an old man already then.
He happened to be my sister's boyfriend.
All right.
And there's only one Gabor Lacko in this world. And when we went to the Worshipful Turner's exhibition, he had a piece there. And I thought, Gabor Lacko? Can only be one label, like, you know. So I looked him up, and it was the same guy I knew when 40 years ago.
What happened there?
I think we all got kicked out.
What did we do wrong? Was it
What
something
happened?
Oh dear. Maybe Zoom doesn't like Gabor Lacko. Oh, he's far too young to have known Dave in his youth. Ah, no, that Gabor Lacko, yes. Found him. What are we going to talk about while they come back?
Well, maybe I want some advice on sanding. At the moment, I'm just using my fingers and they're getting very, very hot. But I've noticed there's these, one of you showed a few weeks ago, these small discs that rotate. And they're held on by Velcro.
I use the discs in two ways. I got Simon Hope, who sells the stuff, to sell me a square piece, a large square piece, from which I cut pads that I put on the back of Velcro abrasive to sand by hand. But he also sells the discs cut to shape and size for a regular inertial sander. And I use that too, because what happens is that these foam discs are much softer. So as you go around, you hit a bump, it'll accommodate the bump. If you've got a very uneven piece, it'll go round the unevenness. But it can exacerbate, in very soft woods, it can exacerbate the dents that you get when you come to, say, a rotten piece. So in circumstances like that, you can't use the soft pad. You have to use the hardest pad you can. But otherwise, I use those soft pieces all the time on an inertial sander, or as I say, under my fingers.
Right, okay, thanks, yeah.
Sorry, we got cut off, Julie and I, but I've come back.
So Simon Hope's your man if you want to find that stuff.
Yeah.
Fine, thanks.
Oh, he's back. Hi, Julian. I don't know what happened. You just went completely blank and lost it.
Host ended the meeting. Who's the host?
I went as well.
Don't know.
North London.
You don't know who the host is?
Well, North London Woodtowns were the host. It wasn't me.
Was that you, Julian?
No, well, I don't think so. Not to my knowledge.
Whose damn meeting is this? What are we doing here?
He was probably using a 45-minute job instead of a...
Yes, possibly.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Which is very... I mean, we've got a license to go on for as long as we want, haven't we?
Yes. Just wonder if I can...
use the license.
No, I know I can.
Yeah.
It's just if I can.
Don't change it now.
No, we haven't actually got a host. I'll claim host because Marks and Pianos has got a license.
Cool.
But well, you'll lose everybody, won't you, if you change IDs?
Let's look. If I lose everybody, I apologise. Oh God.
Well, if it's working, don't fix it.
No, just leave it as it is. Carry on.
Okay. We might get cut off after another 45 minutes.
It'll be done by then.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Well, Brian, while I'm just got you,
Yeah.
can you come on that Monday that we're talking about?
Yeah, I did reply to you, and I set some questions for you.
I haven't seen your reply. There must be something wrong with my emails.
I only replied today.
Oh, that's different. Okay, sorry guys, but you can come.
I can come, yes, but I'm puzzled by what we're actually going to test.
Well,
and have we got the bits to test?
Let's do that at another meeting. Let's not do that. Let's not do that with everybody here. That's boring.
Because I had no response from him.
Yeah. Okay. Where did we get to when we were so rudely interrupted?
I think Tom was talking about sanding pads, weren't you?
Well, no, I just began that because Ian asked after we got back. But when we were so rudely interrupted, was talking about Gabor Lacko.
Yeah.
Perhaps I shouldn't have uttered the words because it seemed to cut us off last time.
Well, look him up on Google. You'll be impressed.
Right.
He was a friend of Bert Marsh. Has a fantastic collection of turnings. Absolutely amazing. So provided he's still around, he's well over 90. He'll be coming on July the 21st. But he seemed in good shape, didn't he, Julian?
He was in very good shape. Yeah, he's a very interesting guy. Turns some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just telling Adam that we're back on.
Oh, we lost Adam.
Yeah.
Just checking there, Rutland's do not do bit extenders for Forstner bits, but I've found the things you mentioned, Dave, on Amazon.
Excellent, yeah.
Be careful that they're not too narrow.
Yeah, no, I've got to look for the diameters yet.
That's the problem I've got. The ones I bought were too narrow.
What do you mean too narrow? I mean the hole wasn't big enough.
Yeah.
Every type of Forstner bit has a different diameter.
Of course.
Because I've got 3 extensions and most of them
Oh, apparently Zoom has had a major blip and everybody got logged off by the sound.
Okay.
Oh. Good.
What's 3/8 of an inch in mil? Anybody know?
Yeah.
9.
9 mil, yeah.
What is it?
About 9.
About 9. Not 8.2 then, or 8.06 even.
Could be.
Yeah, well, these light bulb things only come in imperial.
What a pain.
How much did you ask? Point 3/4 of an inch, did you say? Or
3/8.
3/8.
9.5.
Sorry, 9.5.
I think so, yeah.
Just the diameter of the extension.
Yeah, 9.525 to be precise.
Yeah.
Okay.
That won't do then.
Ask Google.
Yeah, that won't do then.
Yeah. Well, when I made this pepper mill, I thought I don't need a 1-inch hole down the middle. 7 mil is big enough because that's the diameter of the shaft, and I only had a 16 mil auger bit, so I did it with 16 mil. I put the whole thing together, and it didn't work, or hardly worked, and then the penny dropped. the reason it's a 1-inch hole is to get the pepper in. So if you put a 7mm hole inside a 15mm hole, only leaves what, 8mm or less. And the pepper all kind of jams up in there between the centre bit and the hole. So I had to drill it all out again.
You can, of course, use smaller sized peppercorns.
Well,
you can grind them up first.
Oh, there's a thought, Brian. You got it. That's
we'll put ground pepper in. Yeah, that'll do.
And once you put the mechanism in, you can't get it out because you hit it and it comes out, but you smash it in the process.
It locks in.
Locked in. So I have to finish up buying a new crunch grinder and drill out the hole. Now it works fine. But lessons learned.
When are you making the salt one to match?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Did you buy the salt and pepper kit together?
Well, you just buy lots of mechanisms.
Yeah.
I think it's basically the same mechanism, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same mechanism.
Yeah.
So whereas the pepper's got a black top and a white body, I'm going to have the salt as a white top and a black body. It'd be different. Same design, different colours.
Fair enough. Anybody else got anything going on other than moving sheds?
No.
Any wood going at your place, Colin?
No. Well, there's still some logs available at Stevens Park, but not very big diameter ones. So probably 8 inches or so diameter.
It's all right.
So if anybody wants, just you can let Dean Warwick know. I think if you've got his email address, if you haven't got his email address, I'll let you know.
Well, I come with you. They've got sycamore, I take it. So.
Yeah, they sycamore, but it's not very big ones. I think it's all about it's about 8 inches diameter.
That's all right.
If anybody's interested, go along.
You can use it lengthwise instead of.
Yeah.
Okay.
So have you stopped chopping bits of tree down in your allotment?
Who?
Me?
Tom.
Your allotment, yeah, Tom.
Yeah, no, well, no, I don't chop them down in the allotment. I just pick up pieces that other people have chopped down.
Even better.
But I did help. I did help my good friend Paul, who's the chief allotment chopper downer, chop up an oak branch the other day, which had some absolutely magnificent wood in it. I was so sad that none of you wanted any. It was just absolutely gorgeous. So I've now got a pile of beech and a pile of oak in the front yard, just waiting to be turned until I can, get to the lathe. And they're biggish pieces, and I'm really learning that bigger pieces take longer to turn. You wouldn't think so, because 1 RPM takes a big piece round just as much as it takes a small piece round. But for some reason, it ain't like that.
More work on it.
Yeah.
How do you fix the bigger pieces to the lathe?
Almost always with a faceplate.
Faceplate.
Yeah.
And it hangs over the side. You can twist it.
Yeah. I rotate my head and put it over the side, and I've learned to use the chainsaw to make it as round as I possibly can before I start, because otherwise it's really heavy work. It really bashes, even at 150, 200 RPM. 30 or 40 or 50 kilos of wood coming round. That hurts.
That's really dangerous.
Yeah, you better get that slow, but it runs at 500. It's even more frightening.
Oh, well, yeah, you've really got to get it balanced to get to 500.
So it's all very well hanging the piece over the side. Can you get the tool round as well?
Yes. So, well, I showed you the other day at the Visit My Workshop demo that we did. There's an extension to the lathe. I can show you again now. It's fitted right this very second. Let's see if I can do it. Where are we? Find the thing. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Can you see there the thing sticking out the side of the lathe?
Point to it.
That there. That's at right angles to the bed, which is over there.
Yeah.
That's the bed, and this is at right angles, fitted halfway along. So that's for small pieces that are really long. But I can fit that extension, which is 40 centimeters. I can fit it down there as well. Oh, you can't see in the dark. That's better. You can probably just see this black plate here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes there. That gives me a good, I don't know, 70 centimeter diameter piece, way over human usability. So yeah, I mean, I'm completely bowled over with the lathe I've got because it was so cheap for such versatility in such a small space. But the truth of the matter is, you don't get out for now, and some of the design details are really shoddy. Like for a start, the paint finish, but also the mix of metals used on wear out. I mean, there's an alloy and steel locking key I keep having to get spares of because they just obviously the alloy just wears down on the steel. But the extension allows me to do very big pieces, either very long pieces or very wide pieces. And yeah, I've got an extension to the banjo, and the tool rest sort of rides up to come level with the center of the spindle.
Good. Yeah.
Anybody want to see? You're welcome anytime. I've had the 2 jabs, so I feel safe.
Right, I've got to go now, guys. So I'll see you in, what is it, 2 or 3 weeks? I can never remember.
The next meeting is Colwyn Way, a very well-known turner, and I think he's on the third Wednesday, whatever that date is.
Third Wednesday, yeah, fine, okay.
2 weeks' time.
Give you the exact date here.
The 16th.
16th.
Yeah, okay.
16th, okay.
No, it's June, isn't it? May
Yeah.
16th.
Fine. Okay, thanks very much then. Bye.
All the
Bye.
best.
Ian, bye now. Bye.
We lost Paul, didn't we? Do you think he disappeared when the...
Yeah.
Did everybody disappear?
Yeah. Well, I did.
Yes, we all
We all-
went.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but apparently Adam is looking into it.
This bit extender thing, I've been looking while we've all been talking, and it's not that easy for the bits that I happen to have got, which are very good. But they have 0.32 and 0.39 diameter shanks, when what I need is a 0.375 for a 3/8, and can't find it.
Hang on, you can borrow mine if they fit. I just have to go and measure them. So stay there.
Okie dokie. They're the ones that I had. A Planet Forstner extension bar. That's what I've got. That's also 3/8. But it works with a taper, I think. I should have bought more Planet bits.
Or longer ones.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Rutland's had this offer, and they're really, really good bits. I mean, they're very, very impressive. But it's because they've got this taper. The teeth are wider than the part behind, so they clear, they don't bind, and
They got teeth, or are they? I mean,
Yes.
I've a lot. They've got teeth because you can also get wave.
Yes, no, these are
teeth, and
these are teeth. Where am I? There we go. Can you see?
yeah.
Yeah, I start out with auger bits. I don't have them that diameter, but you have to file off the screw thread on the front of a standard auger bit, which is fine. But it just means you can't use it with a hand drill, which is where you often need it.
Yes, I struggled.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Forstner bit itself is the expensive part. And when I found Rutland's offering a kit of, I don't know, what's this, half a dozen for, I think it was less than 20 quid. I thought I'd give them a try, but now I know why they're a problem. There's no extension available for that size shank. Right, what's he doing?
I think he's gone to his shed.
I'm sitting in mine.
Yeah, I noticed. unless you move the lathe into the front room.
Well, no, I find these meetings are really useful so long as I can refer to my reality. Yeah. And so quite often people are talking about, angles of presentation of gouges or something, and I just reach for a gouge and have a look what it means.
Yeah.
Or in this case, measure up my my Forstners. Oh. What you got, Dave?
Well, that's an extender.
Yes, it is indeed.
Now let me just see how much. 0, 864. Is that inches? Hang on. No, it's millimeters.
So your extender fits shanks of 0.864 inside.
That's what this one is.
8.64. Well, I've got a 10 mil shank and an 8 mil shank.
8.21. That 8.21 is this bit.
Right.
One here. This is a much bigger one.
So would 8.04 fit into 8.21 without wobbling? Probably not.
And there's one here at 12. Is that an interest to you?
No, I've got a 10.
Big one.
No. I'll have to get hold of Rutland's and see what they say. They'll probably say buy a different set.
What size do you want?
10 mil or 8 mil.
12. I know. What size the bit you've got?
What size the what?
What size of hole are you drilling?
Oh, it's a whole range.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I mean, I've got this box of Forstners.
Yeah.
Here. Whoops, where are we? There.
Yeah.
And the very largest, which is a 35 mil Forstner, has a 10 mil shank, and the smallest up here has all the small other ones have 8 mil.
Yeah. Well, I'll have another look later, but this one is 8.21.
I'll give Rutland's a call. They've got to have some solution.
Oh, good.
It's kind of stupid, isn't it? Anyway.
Sorry, what's this one? 12 mil. But it's good to be able to help out. I mean,
yeah, no, it'd be great. I tell you what would help out though. If you could get the Brexit thing reversed, we'll probably find millimeter bit extenders easily.
That's not within my power.
beyond the remit.
Yeah.
Let's not go down there.
No.
All right.
We're going to call it a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll come and see you, Colin.
Oh, then?
Come round and see you and look.
We'll get together. Okay.
Yeah, next week. Sometime.
Stay well,
Okay.
have a good fortnight, and see you in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, okay. Look forward to that. Great. Thank you very much indeed.
Bye.
Night all. Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.